right, at this time we're going to resume the meeting of August 6, 2018. Councilmember Friend, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Gillio?
Here.
Councilmember Solario Luna?
Present.
Mayor Velazquez?
Here.
Councilmember Friend?
Present.
Councilmember Clower?
Here.
City Manager Avra?
Present.
City Attorney Epperson?
Present.
Lieutenant Wynn?
Here.
Thank you. Verification of agenda posting.
The amended agenda for the City of Hollister City Council meeting of August 6, 2018 was posted on the bulletin board on August 2nd, 2018 at 2:35 p.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Thank you. City Attorney, is there anything you want to report out from closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, the City Council convened into closed session at 6 o'clock p.m. It discussed in closed session as agendized items 1 through 4, conference with labor negotiator, and number 5, conference with legal counsel at anticipated litigation, and number 6, conference with legal counsel existing litigation. All City Council members participated in the closed session. No reportable action was taken other than direction was given to staff and negotiators, and the City Council adjourned from closed session at 6:42 p.m.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to recognize some city employees here for the second quarter.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I've got two city employees. The first one is Greg Betancourt for 20 years of service. Unfortunately, Greg isn't in right now, but Fire Captain Betancourt joined the Hollister Fire Department 20 years ago from the ranks of our paid call firefighters. In June of 1989, he began as a firefighter 1 and worked his way up through the ranks as fire captain. Captain Betancourt's contributions include for the fire department, publications manager. He was a community CPR instructor, active shooter response coordinator, and consumables manager. He served on strike team deployments outside of the county and continues to serve within the community that he lives in. And if he was here, I'd shake his hand and congratulate him. But 20 years for Captain Betancourt. My second one is James Phillip Rossi. So that's Fire Battalion Chief Phil Rossi. He's been with the department for 10 years. Local guy, born and raised, and he also started with the fire department from the paid call firefighter ranks May of 2008. Chief Rossi started as a paid call firefighter, worked his way up to, you can come up here, Chief Rossi. Yeah. He started as a paid call firefighter, worked his way up from firefighter to engineer to captain, and to his current position as a battalion chief. And as a battalion chief, he's a shift commander in charge of operations and training. So everything that we do, all of the current work that goes on being deployed and providing service to the community, to your community, he has his hand in it. And he's the right person to have his hand in everything because this guy's multifaceted and he does a real good job with it. Some of Phil's contributions include the apparatus specification team, training and development of our current course curriculum. He was the project manager as a young firefighter with a multi-$1,000 project, assumed a lot of FEMA grants to get this stuff. He was a fire academy instructor on his own time. He worked for Evergreen College, and we consider him as a senior leader mentor to junior fire officers. Phil selflessly volunteers his off-duty time and ensures that the department gets the service that the community deserves. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it. Say something?
No, I don't want to say anything. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Hang on, Phil.
Chief, and the firefighters that are here, in a time right now throughout California that we need the firefighters so much. Personally, all the audience, ourselves up here, we personally like to thank you and all our firefighters throughout the state of California.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
We appreciate that. That's right. Like the city manager pointed out, we have a crew that was deployed about over 10 days ago, 12 days. And how this deployment started was the area command from Monterey got called upon for the third or fourth time in our area, and all of the resources were already depleted. So when they asked us to come up with a piece of equipment, any kind of equipment and staffing, we gave them the water tender that we earned from the FEMA grant. In the location that they were going to be initially deployed to, there was no water source, so we were it for that task force. And what a task force is comprised of is a multitude of pieces of equipment formed for a single effort. So the first fire they went to was the Cranston fire in Riverside County, San Bernardino National Forest, and then 3 or 4 days later they got redeployed to the Carr fire. So right now they're, again, the only water source for one of the divisions out there, and they're doing an excellent job. That piece of equipment is going to be there for probably the duration of 21 days. However, we intend to rotate troops out within the next, I'm going to say 3 days if it's called upon. But yeah, they've been doing a real good job, and they're keeping safe, right? Phil, you're the operations chief.
Yes, they're staying safe.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to move forward to the consent.
There's more.
There's more? I don't have
more.
a list showing me the names, so that's why I'm thrown off here.
No problem. There's 3 more. I have 1 and PD has 2. So Heidi, come on up. So tonight I'm here to recognize Heidi McDonald's 10-year anniversary. Heidi is my administrative analyst out at the Management Services Department and truly one of the hardest working people in the city. She manages a budget for 11 divisions. That's a job in itself. She also manages the HR change forms for 53 employees. She also manages time cards for 53 employees and goes through payables for all 11 divisions. So, and then on top of that, she has this boss guy who shows up and says, "Oh, I need this number," and she always never fails to deliver. In addition to that, Heidi has the worst job in the world because she has to tell me oftentimes there's no money to fix something. And she does it well. And then I come here and ask you for money, and then we have money to go fix something. So thank you, Heidi, for everything.
One of the people that we're recognizing tonight is Bo Leland. He's a detective for the department right now. He's had a lot of success lately with some of the bigger arrests for prior murders you may have been following. He's been a great employee, but he's not here. The other one is here, Stacy Escueta. Valued employee. I've worked a lot with her over the years.
Fortunately or unfortunately?
It's been lucky for me. Very valued employee. During her time, she co-started the Explorer program for the city, for the police department, which does a lot of community outreach. It's a great program. She's still in charge of it, spends a lot of her own time on that and her own money. She's currently a school resource officer for the high school, one of the tougher jobs. And she is in the summer doing field training for new hires. She's a field training officer as well. In her time, she's also been a detective for the agency, had a lot of success in that, dealt with a lot of cases that were tough. Great employee. We're lucky to have her. Thanks for the 10 years.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we're going to move to the consent agenda. Are there any items council would like to pull? All right. Are there any items from the public?
If I can, Mr. Mayor, I would like to pull item 810.
810.
Yes, thank you.
I think I have to abstain. I lost it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I believe you should abstain from item A23. A23.
A23, yes.
Yes.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we.
But let's see. Here
I'm
from the
sorry.
public.
I need to pull A10, A16, A22, A23, and A24.
A22, 23, and 24. Is that correct? That's it? Okay, is there a motion?
So moved that we approve the consent calendar as approved.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, A10.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Staff is requesting that we continue item A10 to a certain date. There seems to be a tenant and landlord dispute that hasn't come to an agreement or conclusion, so we would like to pull it and schedule it to a certain date.
Okay. Is there any questions from council?
No, sir.
Is there any speaker cards on that item, A10?
Zavon Casada.
Good evening, my community of champions and go-getters. My name is Zavon, and I'm a resident over here at San Benito County, Hollister, California. And I think this area, having problems with the tenant and the landlord, that's so wrong. It's kind of, because they're coming, it's legal already. Let it come through. Make an area, a designated area for this kind of thing to happen, and make it into a campus where actually, if the cannabis clubs are going to come and they're going to start distributing stuff, well, bring something with them. Maybe once a year they do like a little, I don't know, fair or a festival or something, adding to the things of what we're going to bring to the San Benito County. We're not just going to come here and build a facility and just be like, yeah, we're going to come here, we're going to bring something for the whole community and enjoy. I feel that it's a good note, because where we're going in the future is going to be fast moving, because we are a fast community of brilliance and color. I believe in our community. I do. I just think that the things right now need to be a little bit sharpened up, and things like this of a tenant and a landlord, make the area designated already, like a campus. Make it just for one area. Let's do this already. They're here. Let's just go with the flow a little bit. That's all I ask my community, you know? Honestly, it'll bring profits. They'll bring something. I don't think they would agree with that, to bring maybe even a park where the whole community can come and enjoy it. I don't see what's wrong with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to continue?
So moved.
Oh, wait, we have a question from Councilmember
Yeah,
Cloud.
I'm just wondering, what date would you recommend so that we don't have to do it again?
Well,
Is it
we
a couple
could-
months? Is it weeks?
Yeah, why don't we do this? Why don't we, maybe instead of continuing it to a date certain, maybe we just table it until it makes sense for us to bring it back? Okay, I apologize. That was probably bad information to her.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a motion to table?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll move forward to item A16.
Good evening, council members. Item A16 is the annual surplus of equipment that is no longer functioning or worthwhile to handle. This year, we have a bona fide antique. We're getting rid of a 1976 loader that's been parked at the sewer treatment plant for about 25 years and hasn't run for 20. So there's some real quality equipment going to be up for auction.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments from council? Do we have any speaker cards on that item?
Yeah, Savon.
I like this one. This one's really enjoyable because... Hello, my name is Yvonne. I'm a resident of Hollister, California, San Bernardino County, and I love this one. Ready to push whatever kind of history we got here, right? Where's the bell to Dunn Park? Where'd that go? And where'd the money go for that? That's what I'd like to know. We seem to have no funds for any programs for after school or nothing like that because the children don't even have summer camps for free or no destination to go to, a park or nothing. How many parks does Hollister, California actually have? Why are we pushing the history things where we can put them in a place where the community can enjoy it? I mean, where's the bell, though, for Dunn Park? Isn't that a piece of history? Or do we push that, too? And where's the money for that?
Well, we're talking about the...
Well, I'm talking about the same thing, Mr. Mayor. I'm talking about why are we going to sell everything that's historical here? We're already destroying historical areas and putting homes, track homes, nothing of difference but just like 4 styles and blast them out. No park, no nothing. So why am I saying this? Because I want to know where's the money going then. I mean, we're pushing it. Why aren't we going into programs or something to help everyone in our community? We are a community, right? I think unity's in that word, right? Thank you.
Just for clarification, Vaughn, it's a tractor that does not work any longer and might be a little dangerous on a playground. So
The bells are secure. They are not on that list.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve. So moved. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. We move to item A22.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Item 22 is for the equipment and furnishings and improvements of the District 3 facility at the airport. How can I answer your questions?
I don't think we pulled it.
The public.
Member of the public, it's Savon.
Savon.
I will remove
You have a
myself.
question on item A22?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. So A22 and 21 as well, and I think we've had a couple other things for the fire department, and yet we wouldn't approve anything of funding for them for what they really need, an analyst, someone to get a little bit less stress on our police chiefs and our fire chief and get the company of being a firefighter a little bit less, to handle. He was asking for one, and we denied him. Yet we'll ask for other things, and he'll get them. It doesn't make sense to me. The Jeeps that we got, I think you asked for them. You got them. Or maybe I'm wrong, but we told him no for something that in the future will give them profits and help him be a little stressed out. He's a firefighter. He should be ready for, fires, not stressed out about analytical things. He should have an analyticist. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the word wrong. I'm a little bit bad about that. But I talked to him real quick to see if they needed that. They did, and we won't give that to them. That's something to help them. They need one. Why are we looking at that instead of looking at other things? I mean, we can throw this in on the strength, a steel parking structure. I mean, let's look at what we're talking about for the agenda. No rec center. How are we going to get good doctors to come over here and work on a medical facility if we don't have a playground for them to play in the rec center or swim with their son or daughter? You think they're going to want to come here and practice medicine here? If there's not even anything of entertainment for them to do here or a destination to go to? They're going to bring their families here?
Zavon, do you have a question about this item?
I have a lot of questions, Mayor.
As long as you can stick on this item, we're good.
That's
We'll
what I'm
listen to you.
asking. If they want it, we should look at the things that they really need.
Thank you. Okay. Any questions from council? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I'll defer to
Who
Councilmember
won
Lunar.
that one?
Councilmember Lunar.
All right, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We're going to move to item A23. I'm going to abstain from this item, and I guess since it's a conversation, I'm going to recuse myself and pass the gavel to Vice Mayor Luna.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. This agenda item is as requested by the developer in order to begin constructing, early start construction homes at the Allendale subdivision. This development complies with city policy for the construction of homes within an incomplete subdivision. City staff has prepared the memorandum of agreement on behalf of the developer, where the memorandum of agreement would condition the developer as further means to protect the city. Staff recommendation is to authorize the execution of this memorandum of agreement and allow the developer to begin early start construction home within this subdivision. Any questions?
Is that it? Are there any comments from City Council? Yes. Councilman Friend?
I guess I'm just trying to get it clear.
I thought this project was already approved. Now they want to start construction before they do the required work that we're asking them to do.
If I can jump in just for a second. This is just a memorandum of agreement that allows the developer to get building permits. They've already got their final map has been recorded. They're under construction. This is just a standard protocol for them to get their early start building permits. What it does, it provides for them to prepare like all-weather access roads, get their water system up, sewer systems, and other things so that they can get a jump start on things.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Any questions, Council? Do we have any speaker card?
No.
No speaker card?
So moved.
Okay. Bear motion on the floor. Second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Second? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, we'll move to item A24. I believe that was from the public also. Who was the speaker?
The speaker is Yvonne
Go on.
for item 24.
Oh, I don't remember putting that. I meant to put for the dance one for the high school. I was just wanted to say that things like that is really cool, to stop things for festivals and parades. I like to give kudos, and I apologize if I come out very hostile or something of dramatic with things of like the firefighters and all that, but I really believe if they had an analyst, they would be able to make their own profits to see what they're going to do for the fiscal year to get their own things and not have to ask the city to help them because they could be self-efficient. And that's what I really meant to say. I apologize for being so hostile about it. And giving them things that they can get with themselves if they had an analyst would be awesome. But the red ribbon, as well as the dance thing for San Benito County, the high school, I think that's really cool. Kudos to that. And I hope to see the future of more of those happening all throughout the city.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, Mr. Mayor.
No comments. Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carries. We're going to move to public input already. All right, time for public input. This is the time for anyone in the audience to speak on any item not on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Speaker cards are available in the lobby and are to be completed and given to the city clerk before speaking. When the clerk calls your name, please come to the podium, state your name and city for the record, and speak to the city council. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes per subject. Please note, state law prohibits the city council from discussing or taking action on any item not on the agenda. Do we have any speakers tonight?
First speaker is Susan Lyle. Or Lage.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and City Council representatives. My name is Susan Logue, and I'm here, a resident of Hollister in San Benito County. I'm here today as a representative of the Coalition for a New Community Library and Resource Center. We are a grassroots community group, and we're very interested in building a new library, and that is our main vision and mission. I'm sure this city is very proud to have helped its residents this summer through the San Benito County Free Library Summer Reading Program. We also had Teen Reach and Story Time. During the summer reading program, the library provided literacy activities to over 450 children from our community. We also provided nutritious meals for them, and that was partnering Nora did with the school districts. I'd like to see if the city could better support the library's programs that directly impact its residents. The library could provide more than just 1 day per week for the summer reading program if the city increased its spending on this worthwhile program and others such as Homework Club, STEM, Story Time, and Teen Reach. The Coalition for a New Community Library and Resource Center are asking for your help to help form an ad hoc committee so that we might be able to work together and you might be able to serve as a liaison between the public, the interested parties, and, of course, elected officials. The Coalition is asking for support in investigation as to possible future library sites. We are not sure where we are in this process, but there's been discussions about it. We continue to plan for a new library and would like your assistance. As Albert Einstein said, the only thing you absolutely have to know is the location of a library. Libraries are a symbol of a functioning democracy where everyone is welcomed. Thank you, and thank you for your continued support of the library.
Thank you.
Marty Richmond.
Good evening, Marty Richard from Hollister, and Ray Friend thought he was going to get away unscathed tonight, but that's not going to happen. So I may run a minute over. I hope you will be tolerant because I didn't speak much in the last month because you had no meetings. I want to talk about Mr. Friend, who has shown extraordinary personal courage in his battles for health. And most of the people here know that. But what they may not know, that over 50 years ago, a much younger Mr. Ray Friend showed the same kind of courage in saving his friends and his ship when a major fire and series of massive explosions broke out aboard the carrier USS Enterprise off the coast of Hawaii in 1969. Now that's a long time ago, and many of you may think it's ancient history. For those of you who only know the USS Enterprise as the starship in the fictional Star Trek universe, it actually, or a space shuttle, it was actually a historic, the name Enterprise is historic ships in the United States Navy. There have been 8 American ships named the Enterprise, and the 9th, an aircraft carrier, is currently under construction. The first Enterprise was commissioned in 1775 during the Revolutionary War. The first aircraft carrier, Enterprise, which many of you may know as the Big E, was commissioned in 1938 and served with unparalleled distinction in World War II, and it was the most awarded and decorated ship in the entire war during World War II. The Big E, on which Ray Friend served, was commissioned in 1961. It was the world's first nuclear aircraft carrier, and as of 212, it was the U.S. Navy's longest-serving combat vessel. It was officially decommissioned last year, but it almost did not make it to last year because of what happened. In 1969, a series of accidental bomb explosions blew holes in the flight deck of the Enterprise, allowing burning jet fuel to enter the ship's interior. 28 sailors were killed, more than 300 were injured, and it could have been worse. As described in the book, Trial the Ordeal of the USS Enterprise, Ray pulled out a fire hose and fought the fire along with his shipmates while burning fuel poured down into the space from the holes overhead. He doesn't talk much about it. One detonation blew a 7-foot by 8-foot hole in the steel flight deck, right on top of it. Ray's host team was blown from the pressure from one side of the ship to the other through the compartment, and the hot gases knocked out all the lights. And they still tried to save the wounded. Eventually, his heroic actions helped save the ship. What can you ask from someone but that? Thanks, Ray. I salute you.
I should have never gave you that book.
It's a very rare sight and very well deserved. Thank you, Rose.
Savon Quesada.
My name is Devon Casada, and I'm a resident of San Benito County, Hollister, California, a place of innovation and color. And Mr. Friend, I also want to say, from the times I first started coming to city council meetings, I never had a one-on-one with you, but I've seen your gestures and your things of change to be a good, and you can really see your heart through everything of a Stern. And I really, hope wherever you go, you are just the same as you are now, because you're a good man.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. And library, I'll jump on board with that, honey. Library is so cool. I think a literature park called Dr. Seuss Literature Park. I mean, Dr. Seuss is still used in books of schools as well today. He was a beautiful author. Where between the place of Dabos and right there on Nino, the thing, I think they have it as a cage right now with a rig, a big rig, semi-rig. Well, that rig could turn into a mobile book area, because I've asked some contractors actually myself and asked them, hey, you think that could be, reinforced? And yes, you can. And it could be an area where people would do like book studies, or how about sit down and read some books, or how about piñata making or scrapbook making, after school educational mentoring. And the things of volunteers would flood. There'd be teachers that would love to do this, even from other communities, because it'd be something of a difference. A literature park downtown would be a very good stamp to make for the downtown area, because it's going to change. This I'm just surprised that our downtown area is still empty when the Vintage Pearl just opened up. So beautiful, I love it. And that area is already looking very luxurious, which should be Hollister downtown area. We got some empty buildings now, but that'll be taken care of, because things of a future of brightness is coming. I promise that. And with San Benito County having beautiful weather like it does, and Hollister being an area where brilliance is all around, things are going to come of difference. I promise that. And I want to say just, if I ever become hostile or something like that, it's just I get excited when I see my community. I do. I mean, it kind of saddens me that we don't have free cookies and coffee, because they got that at AA meetings, but we don't even have one here. And this is our community meeting. I'm just throwing that out there. And it's in a small building. I think there's thousands of people that live here. I'm just throwing that out there because I care and I'm real. And you know what? And services around here, if we cut the right budget or cut some things out and add some things in, we could be self-efficient, and other cities would admire us for keeping unity together. I promise that. There's so many people here that are so brilliant and innovative. We don't even have a community garden as big as where we can make profits from to bring in money for us, for the community, a community thrift store. Where's the community money for the annual years? Look at Casa de Fruta. It has an Asian demographic that we can bring to Hollister. Why not? They got a good little amount of money from tourism going there. Really, go look at Casa de Fruta. What kind of parks what kind of things are they offering that Hollister's not, that we can bring that demographic here and start helping businesses downtown? Boom. What are we doing? I'm telling this to my community who have ideas like that and that are looking out for the youth. Watsonville has a youth program, a youth center, real quick, that's open from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. And they're more crime-ridden than us. Where's our youth center at?
Thank you. You're welcome. Do we have any other speakers?
Victor Gomez.
Mr. Gomez.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, and really I just want to take the time to thank Councilmember Friend, Marty. That was pretty amazing what you just read off. But on December 7th, 2008, you and I, Ray, were sworn into office, and you and I spent 8 years together serving the public here. And I just wanted to say personally, Ray, thank you. Thank you for your dedication to this community. You're always there, willing to speak to the community, willing to engage. When arrows are tossed your way, man, you don't care. You just continue to plow forward. And I got to admit, I admire your style and it's surely going to be missed, Ray. So thank you for your service, and please stay in touch with the community that still loves you. Thank you.
Thank you.
No more comments.
No more comments? Okay.
Thank you.
We do have one more comment.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Elia Salinas. I am a San Benito San Hollister resident. I also am here that I want to personally publicly thank Councilman Friend for his dedication to this community, his timeless hours that he spent out there. He's very approachable to everybody and definitely has a very unique style. And I thank you and I wish you luck and good health to where you're going. And very much, the community appreciates your time that you've given to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is that it? All right. We're going to move to item D1, City Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I have a couple things I'd like to report on this evening. The first thing is although we had a legislative recess over July, many of us were still here working very hard. We received notice that we were awarded a Cdbg Grant this year of $2.3 million, in which about 1.6 is going to be used to develop the River Park Trail from Bridge Road down to the Apricot area. The other portion of that is going to community services, which includes the Community Food Bank and Jóvenes de Antano. So they will be able to continue to provide services for their members. We received, staff also prepared a grant, an ATP grant, for just a little over $2 million to do some of the corridor improvements along Nash Road. That would be from San Benito Street and continuing on all the way to Memorial Drive. So hopefully we hear from that relatively soon. As you know, we have the bypass work going on around the school, but the idea is to expand sort of that safety corridor all the way down through the Nash Tres Pinos Sunny Slope area, which when you look at a map of hotspots of where accidents occur with pedestrians and bicycles, clearly with Rancho San Houston High School being in the area, it's one of the worst spots that we have in town. We received a letter from the HDA thanking us for our help and contribution to this year's street festival. I don't know if anybody was able to attend that, but there was 250 cars. It was the largest car show that we've had. We had cars on the waiting list, so there's going to be some probably discussions about making it even larger. It was actually a really, really well-attended event, and the day was absolutely beautiful. We also received a Beacon Spotlight Award for energy savings at the gold level. We are going to be receiving our award at the League of California Cities conference this year down in Long Beach. I don't know if any of you are attending. If you are, we would love to have you pick that up for us and bring it back. Thank you, Councilperson Luna. So that's actually really, really good news. The other great news we got last Friday. Last Friday, we were notified that we were receiving the SAFER grant again for 9 firefighters. So that ends up being about $2.5 million over the next 3 years as well. So we're pretty excited about that as well. We had our color run, our first color run this year. We did it out towards the industrial park. I want to thank all the people that helped put that together. I want to thank all the businesses who endured us for a couple hours on that Saturday morning, but we ended up with 20, something like that, participants. It was a blast. Mostly the little kids that had an absolute blast there. It was super fun. And we'll try to do something again next year, very similar. Maybe not at the same location, but it'll be something interesting. And then everybody should be receiving their 218 notices for trash. I'm not sure if you have been getting calls or not. I know I've gotten a few. I think that one of the things that is sort of being is missed a little bit is that the state mandates now require us to have trash, recycle, and yard waste or composting cans. Many people in this community apparently are not paying for those other two services now, so they're seeing a much larger increase than the small increase that people have that already have access to the 3 cans. So I do apologize that those prices aren't on that, but I just want to let everybody know that that's probably why if you're paying $18 or $19 right now, it's generally because you just have the small gray container. That's no longer an option for us moving forward, so everybody's going to be mandated to have the other bins. So that's why everybody's kind of going to that $30 per month bill. So I just want to let everybody I'm going to be saying that now until October, just in case, so the word gets out that that's why it is. And then finally, I don't know why Ray's getting all kinds of accolades, but I guess he's going somewhere. So I would like to give him. Can I do it here? Ray, we know that you also spend a long time at the Planning Commission. I don't know if I've actually worked in this city with you not being here. So, and that seems like a long time. But really, truly, from all of us as staff and that every council that you worked with, we thank you very much for your dedication, all the time that you spent at planning commissions before, all the special meetings during general plans, of course, and all your time that's spent at the council meetings. I don't think everybody quite understands what it takes to be a council person, and certainly nobody knows what it takes to be a councilman for 10 years. So thank you very much. I can come to you.
I'll come to you.
All right.
It's been fun.
Is that it, Bill?
That's it, yeah.
I wanted to thank you. A homeowner called in about a tree that was falling, and you sent out a crew right away this morning. I want to thank you for taking care of that so quickly.
Yeah, I need to just thank the people that actually do the work.
I know, and that's what I wanted you to do. Thank them, but I want to thank you because I contacted you and you made sure it happened. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
We're going to move to item E1.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. This next item is a resolution calling for special elections for Community Facilities District 5. As you recall, on June 18, 2018, the City Council approved Resolution 2018-172, Resolution of Intention to finance ongoing police and fire services within the CFD and setting the time and place of a public hearing for today, August 6, 2018.
Okay, is there any questions from council? At this time, I'll open up the public hearing. Do we have any speakers?
There's no speakers.
This time, I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
I will make the motion that we approve item E1.
Second.
There's a motion. There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. We're going to move to item F1.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. Item F1 is requesting that you approve the plans and specs for the improvements for McCarthy Park and authorize us to go ahead and circulate them to go out to bid. The plans and specs are available in the City Clerk's office for public review if anybody wants to see them.
Is there any questions from council? No questions?
I have a question.
Vice Mayor Luna?
Yes, Mike. Only because there was so much interest in this park and in the surrounding area. The question is that how long will it be before people in the neighborhood and the city actually see this park?
So I'm shooting for a Memorial Day opening, so it'll be open for next summer. And then I'm hoping to break ground by end of October.
Okay, thank you.
We have to have the grant funds expended by, Heidi just left, but I think January.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Any speaker cards?
Savon?
MacArthur Park. Is this the one that got $2.5 million? This is the one that with the $360,000 bathrooms and the $67,000 swings? I just want to make sure, because I would like to know, why didn't we get a jury of like different artists in Hollister to put together a park? I mean, to be honest, the woman that presented it, and yourself, mister, I know you took a lot of work to mail 1,000 envelopes. I know you did, English and Spanish, and I give you credit for that. I just want to know how many other designers or engineers of parks were asked, hey, are you interested in taking on this land and making something different? Or is it just one thing because the woman came in here and she couldn't put the PowerPoint together and the pictures would look like she drew them in the bathroom? I'm just being honest and real. And if somebody asks you for that much money from our community, you better come with more A game than that. And if we want to build a park, why don't we dump some money into the skate park? Why don't we dump some money into there? Or what about Dunn Park that doesn't even have no more barbecue pits? They took out the barbecue pits and didn't put any back. I mean, ooh, please, let's get some people to the parks. And instead of dumping all this money into one park, $2.5 million, we can do so much with the parks we have around and start making land for other things of destinations like libraries, like Dr. Seuss Literature Park is downtown in area. I'm just saying, I don't wish for nothing. I believe that we should have a jury, another two, or throw something out there to other park engineers. I mean, we should have another look at this park that's getting $360,000 bathrooms and $67,000 swings. That's the thing that got me the most. And a giant piece of grass with a water tower on top of it. When we were talking about saving water or something like that, you know, I don't get this thing a little bit. And of course, the skaters would love a little piece of the front part was for skaters. Of course, they're going to love that. They don't have nothing at the skate park. Of course, they're going to love that. It's different. It's new. I mean, wow. But how far will it get bored for them? Or before they're told, hey, you can't be doing that there. When's that going to happen? Why don't we dump some money where it's already, you know, how about a bike park right across the street? You know where Sunny Slope is? You know, Rite Aid behind that big old area that has the two mountains already? Hey, that'd be a bad bike park. And I don't think we'd have to put too much money in there, and we can make that little thing in the back, the shed right there, into a donation center and make sure that every youth in Hollister has a bike. That would be awesome to be known for that, right? Just throwing it out there.
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers?
No, Mr. Mayor.
No. Okay. Any other questions from council? Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2018-194.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Mike. I know this has been 2 years.
So far.
Yep.
It's been longer than that, actually. We're going to move to item F2.
Item F2 is seeking direction from you on how you want to handle this. So in the operating budget, you approved a couple $100,000 to purchase a piece of equipment called a stripe hog. And what that is a fancy pressure washer. It has a head on it that goes over the street markings, and the hydraulic pressure spins the jets, and they go at different angles. And depending on how you adjust the pressure, you can either clean the markings or you can remove the markings. Also out at the airport, it allows us to remove rubber from the runway. It's a piece of equipment that we need. You just go out, look at the crosswalk at 5th and Monterey and see how dirty it is. We just painted that 6 months ago. This is a piece of equipment that could clean it. It also will come in handy out of farmer's market to remove some of the grease stains and stuff that occur when spills happen. The issue is, and this is from the manufacturer's mouths, not mine, apparently a bunch of the parts come from other countries. And with the tariffs, the price has now gone up by about $70,000.
Oh.
So the question is, how do you want to proceed? Do you want to allocate an extra $70 to purchase this piece of equipment, or do you want to punt?
Soap and a brush.
We have done that. We pushed mop buckets from the cannery all the way down South Street, all the way down McRae, all the way down Santa Ana, scrubbing the yellow line in the past.
Question,
Councilman Gilio.
Did you do any type of fiscal analysis to determine, obviously it takes a certain amount of man hours to go out, or person hours to go out and clean something for our team members, right? And versus the truck. I know nobody wants to pay this increase, but are we going to end up saving money in a year, 2 years, 3 years? What's the cut even point on the increase?
Well, the only way we have to do it now is manually. So we have to close the street. We have to buy, in fact, we bought every drop of Simple Green that was in this town at every retailer. We go out there with mop buckets. We use the Simple Green to scrub the paint. Then we have to bring the vac-on trucks to wash the dirt and Simple Green into the snout that vacuums it up, because obviously none of this can go down the storm drain. This piece of equipment performs all those tasks with 2 operators, one to drive, it's a trailer, so one to drive the truck pulling it and the other one to operate the head. And it recycles and captures everything all at once.
Does this one also grind as well, or is it just the cleaner?
It doesn't grind. You can turn it up enough that it will blast the paint off,
Okay.
which will improve our painting because we're removing the old markings completely before we go ahead and put a stop legend back down.
Is that for the thermoplastic? Or
It works for thermo, it works for oil-based, it works for water-based.
Any other questions from council? This went up that price that quickly. I would personally rather wait a little longer and see if that price comes down in 6 months when some of these things settle themselves out. So that's a big jump.
It is. That's why I'm here before you.
All right. Speaker cards.
Marty Richmond.
Marty Richmond Hollister. I hope Mr. Gillio doesn't mind me writing on his question. I'm not sure we got the answer that answers the question. The question really, the term, we're going to clean the stripes, we're going to clean the rubber. We're going to clean it. So the question is, how many man hours are we going to put into it if we do not have the machine versus how many man hours are we going to put into it if we have the machine? Basically, all it is a return on investment issue. The fact that it might cost $70,000 more is too bad. I don't see that it's going to bounce back that fast because, these trade wars have a habit of going in one direction or the other. So we'll save some money somewhere and use it up somewhere else. As far as the city's concerned, I think the most important thing is, is this machine, even at the new price, will it pay for itself in a year, or 2 years, or 3 years, or 4 years, or 5 years? And based on that, you can decide whether or not it's a good investment. So I hope, without putting Mike on the spot, he could give us a better idea of how many man hours. I assume we're a $100 an hour operation at least, because when you add it all up, that's what it comes out to. So we can make a pretty easy calculation, I think. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. How often do you have to clean sidewalks or the crosswalks?
We should be cleaning them a lot more often than we are. Just go look at them. We currently don't really have a way. So the markings we did clean was the double yellow line down McRae, Santa Ana, and South Street, which is the haul route for the tomatoes, because it just obliterated it and it was dangerous. And it took 15 employees, 8 hours, all on overtime, to do 2 miles of double yellow line. And we have hundreds of crosswalks and hundreds of stop signs and everything else. So
we usually try to clean or paint right before school starts.
You're right. So on that issue where it was caused by the tomato trucks, is that billed to the cannery at that time?
No, we did not build it to the cannery.
Councilmember Friend, did you have a question?
I was just going to build on that. I know every Thursday morning, Wednesday night, Thursday morning during the summer, we clean San Felipe and San Benito Street just because of the farmers market. And I know that's been at least 6 or 7 people that I've seen doing it, probably 7 or 8 hours each time. And all it is brush and a little Simple Green. There's not a deep cleaning. This machine is a deep cleaning. I mean, the sidewalks could use it also. I mean, that'd be great to have the sidewalks. I just think it's unfortunate that we got the $69,000 increase, but I don't see that coming back. Maybe the trade wars will end in 6 months, but once they get this price in there, it ain't coming down. I think if we wait, we're going to end up paying $150 instead of 70. So I think it's time to do it. Just bite the bullet and go for it.
Okay, Councilmember Clara.
Thank you. I think we've done a decent job of using the thermoplast machine to make these crosswalks and lines a lot more visible. But like it's been said, 3-4 months later, they might as well just be regular paint and dirty again because you can't see them. There's a crosswalk on Hawkins that when I was coming through town today. At night, there's no way you could see that there's even a crosswalk there. So I think that it's pretty bad that we've got to eat $70,000, but at the same time, we've put a lot of money into these crosswalks and lines already. You might as well maintain them. Thanks.
One more question. How long does it take when you put the order in to get the equipment, the machine?
You know, I've learned something. They no longer manufacture things till after you pay for it.
Yeah.
So probably about 6 months.
About 6 months.
We just ordered the heavy equipment that you approved, and we'll see that just about the end of the fiscal year. So it's kind of crazy. You'd think if your business is tractors, you'd have a field of tractors ready to go out the door, but no, it doesn't work that way.
So how long after we had approved it? When did this price increase happen? When did they notify you? What was the...
Well, we went to purchase it, and they're like, oh, surprise, because this tariff stuff started, it's going to be an extra $70,000.
I have a question.
Okay, Vice Mayor Luna.
Mike, the financial impact, it says it's $55,000 from general fund.
Yes. The remainder comes from the airport.
The airport is 14. Is there any higher amount that could come out of the airport enterprise fund?
Well, when you approved it originally, we established a percentage, and the airport is paying more than just 14. It's paying about 80 something when you add in what you've already approved.
Okay. Thank you.
And this is the only company that sells these things? We're stuck with them, huh?
They're the best one.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 2018-195, the supplemental appropriation, even though we don't like the increase. I think it's going to save us money in the future.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item F3.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and the City Council members. At the June 18th, 2018 City Council meeting, you heard the first reading of Ordinance 1157 and scheduled the second reading for tonight, August 6, 2018. There have been no changes to the ordinance, and staff recommends that you adopt Ordinance 1157. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Any questions from council? Any speaker cards? No? Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
No. 4-1. Going to move to item F4 now.
Good evening again. I hate to be a broken wheel here, but at the June 18th, 2018 City Council meeting, you heard the first reading of Ordinance 1158 and scheduled a second reading for today, August 6, 2018. There have been no changes to the ordinance, and staff recommends that you adopt Ordinance 1158. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No. 4-1. All right. We'll move to F5.
At the June 18th, 2018 City Council meeting, you heard the first reading of Ordinance 1159 and scheduled the second reading for tonight, August 6, 2018. There have been no changes to the ordinance, and staff recommends that you adopt Ordinance 1159. Thank you.
Okay.
Are there
Any questions from council? Any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No. 4-1. All right. F6.
At the June 18th, 2018 City Council meeting, you heard the first reading of Ordinance 1160 and scheduled the second reading for tonight, August 6th. There have been no changes to the ordinance, and staff recommends that you adopt Ordinance 1160. Thank you.
Should
Any
have brought a
questions?
tape recorder. You just repeat it
I
over
know.
and over. Okay, any questions? Any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
No. 4-1. F7.
Also, at the June 18, 2018 City Council meeting, you heard the first reading of Ordinance 1161 and scheduled the second reading for tonight, August 6th. There have been no changes to the ordinance, and staff recommends that you adopt Ordinance 1161. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Any speaker cards?
No comments.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
No. 4-1. Okay. Shall we continue? F8.
Also, at the June 18, 2018 City Council meeting, you heard the first reading of Ordinance 1162 and scheduled the second reading for tonight, August 6th. There have been no changes to the ordinance, and staff recommends that you adopt Ordinance 1162. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No. 4-1. F9.
At the June 18, 2018 City Council meeting, you heard the first reading of Ordinance 1163 and scheduled the second reading for tonight. There have been no changes to the ordinance, and staff recommends that you adopt Ordinance 1163. Are there any questions?
What date was that?
Any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So move.
The motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No. 4-1. Okay. F10.
At the June 18, 2018 City Council meeting, you heard the first reading of Ordinance 1164 and scheduled the second reading for tonight, August 6th. There have been no changes to this ordinance. Staff recommends that you adopt Ordinance 1164. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion?
You should have changed the date just to see if we were even listening.
Yeah, paying attention.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No. 4-1.
Mr. Mayor, on that, on 11 and 13, may I ask you to consider those in sequence so I can recuse myself from both of those from reasons previously stated in the
11.
original ordinance? I'm sorry, yeah, 11 and 13. Yeah. So we're just, you can skip 12 for a minute, then I can come back to the room.
Okay.
Or I can leave twice, either way.
Okay. We'll move to item F11.
Okay. F11 is Ordinance 1165. At the June 18, 2018 City Council meeting, you heard the first reading of the Ordinance 1165 and scheduled the second reading for today, August 6th. There have been no changes in the ordinance. However, there is an administrative typo in the title of the ordinance. The chapter number, as it currently reads, is 17.25.250, and this should be amended to read 17.24.250. You should have the copy of the change document with you. And staff recommends that you adopt Ordinance 1165 with the amendment to the title as described. Are there any questions?
Is this the way you're spicing it up? Is that
Yeah,
it?
got to spice it up at the end.
Okay. Any questions?
Trying to trick us.
Any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a motion?
So move.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
No. 3-1. F12. Oh, F13.
wait, no.
We're going to jump real quick.
Item 13 is Ordinance 1167, which was also heard for the first time at the June 18, 2018 City Council meeting. The second reading was scheduled for tonight, August 6th. There have been no changes in the ordinance. However, the typo is the same in this one, and the chapter number as it currently reads is 17.25.250, and this should be amended to also read 17.24.250. Staff recommends you adopt Ordinance 1167 with the amendment to the title. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve as amended.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
No? 3-1. Well, we're going to move to
Back to item 12.
F12, but we're going to call Mr. Gilio back in.
Item F12 is Ordinance
You
11.
missed it, Mr. Gilio. It got really exciting. Oh, yeah, they changed it way up.
Thanks for letting me know.
So, good F12.
Ordinance 1166 was also heard for the first time at the June 18th, 2018 City Council meeting and scheduled the second reading for tonight, August 6th. There have been no changes to the ordinance. However, this one also has the typo. The chapter number as it currently reads is 17.25.250, and this should be amended to read 17.24.250. Staff recommends that you adopt Ordinance 1166 as amended in the title. Are there any questions?
Okay, any questions? Any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to approve as amended.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
No. 4-1. Okay, F14.
All right, we're going to end it up with a big bang here. At the June 18, 2018 City Council meeting, you heard the first reading of Ordinance 1168 and scheduled the second reading for today, August 6, 2018. There have been no changes in the ordinance. However, there are two typos, administrative typos in this ordinance. The first one is the same chapter amendment, 17.25.250 should be amended to read 17.24.250. But there was also a segment of text that was copied incorrectly. So as it currently states, it does not read as it was read the first time, but it should be amended to read as follows. An ordinance of the City of Hollister amending the Municipal Code, Chapter 17.24.250, pre-zoning of a specifically described real property to low-density residential performance overlay zone, which requires up to 8 dwelling units per acre on the parcel identified as San Benito County APN 019350014, consisting of 6.10 acres located along State Route 25, Hollister Bypass, and north of Santa Ana Road. That is the reading that was the same as what was presented on June 18th.
Oh, I think that's going to have to come back.
For full discussions, right?
Full discussion. Yeah, there was an inclusion of the text from Ordinance 1167. So that was in error. And staff recommends that you adopt Ordinance 1168 with the amendments made to the title as described.
Any questions? Any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No. 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
a
Stay
need.
right there. Just for the council, I don't know if we've introduced Eva Kelly yet. She is our newest assistant planner with the department, and she wanted to do it tonight, so we thank her, and you'll see her again lots, I hope.
I hope whenever we have repetitive ones. That's me.
We definitely got familiar with your voice tonight.
Way to step up.
Welcome, Eva.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to move to item F15.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Item F15, this is going to sound much like we've heard for the last 14. This is the second reading for ordinance number 1169. The first reading was on the June 18th meeting. There have been no changes to the ordinance except what was amended during that June 18th meeting. This is the second reading of the ordinance. We recommend read by title only, waive full reading, and adopt ordinance number 1169. An ordinance adding section 5.42.300, butane resale regulation, to chapter 5.42, cannabis facilities regulatory permit. Are there any questions?
Is there any questions from council? Do we have any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Move to item F16.
Don't be too excited about it either.
Basically, we're trying to re-up the contract with the SROs for the Hollister School District. There's not supposed to be any changes in the contract. It's going to go on for, I think it's 3 more years.
Okay. Is there any questions from council? Vice Mayor Luna?
Dan, did you say 3 years? Or 2 years?
Through July 21st of 2021.
And this was included in the budget for a 2-year budget?
I believe so.
Yeah, the revenue. Yes, the revenue was included in our revenue source for the next
2 years.
Yeah.
But this contract is
It's 3.
for 3.
Yeah.
How's that going to work? Because there's 1 year difference.
Yeah, we on the first year, after we've completed our 2-year budget, which would necessarily be our 3rd year, we'll just include that first year. We'll likely do
Bring it
another.
back?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it'll come back as far as
All right.
the revenue.
That was my question, Dan. Thank you.
I think it's been an excellent program, and it's worked well for everyone.
A lot of kids complain about the high school RSO officer.
All right. Is there any other questions? Do we have any speaker cards?
Yeah, Marty Richmond.
Good morning. Good evening again. It's certainly not morning. Marty Richmond. I'm a little punch drunk. I think it's morning. From Hollister. I don't want to go into a lot of gory detail on this. I think it's a worthwhile program too. But I am interested to know if we have tasked those officers who are there at schools when they're there during drop-off and pick-up times and lunchtime to try and come up with some suggestion to improve the traffic situation around those schools at those critical times. Those, in some areas of the city, basically things come to a total standstill wherever the school is. Some parents have taken to come in earlier and earlier and earlier, and the available parking spaces along the area fills up, sometimes hours in advance, and then they start moving on to the side street. And I understand there's no magic bullet for this. It's going to take a lot of analysis and a lot of work and a lot of dealing with the school district. But I just thought that perhaps the service officers who are there all the time and see what goes on might have some ideas that would improve the traffic flow, and that we ought to make sure that we ask them to observe that as well as the safety issues and give us their ideas, any idea they can come up with to improve the traffic flow around those schools at those critical times when there's a drop-off and a pickup or lunchtime, whatever happens. That seems to basically close the street down in many cases. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. No more comments. Okay. Is there a motion?
So
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carries. Move to F17.
Mr. Mayor, I need to recuse myself from this item as I have a client who has a tentative map that is conditioned upon entering into this CFD.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. This next item is a resolution to approve resolution of formation to establish a Community Facilities District 5 and provide for the levy and special tax to finance police and fire services. As I mentioned before, on June 18, 2018, the City Council of the City of Hollister approved Resolution 2018-172, Resolution of Intention to Finance Ongoing Police and Fire Services, and to set the time for the public hearing for August 6, 2018. Under the conditions of approval for the Borelli subdivision, the City of Hollister initiated proceedings for the creation of Community Facilities District 5 that will fund ongoing police and fire services. Establishing the Community Facilities District 5 will satisfy the conditions of approval for that specific project. Authorizing the city to levy special taxes in the amount sufficient to provide for the police and fire services. In this case, the maximum special tax is proposed to be $775 per single-family residential unit and $635 per multifamily. And these are all subject to increase annually based on the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. Are there any questions for staff?
Any questions? Any speaker cards? Oh, wait, Councilmember Friend?
I did, the 775 number, which is considerably more than that we're getting today.
Correct.
Is that number what came out of the Nexus study? Is that
Yes.
Is that where we came up with this number? So that's going to be the base, and then we're going to go up according to the CPI.
Correct.
I'm just wondering is what's the process if a developer pulls papers, or after the ordinance is in place, pulls papers, and then it's 6 months or 8 months later he actually starts construction? Is there a difference there if there's a increase in the interim while he's waiting to
Yeah, so you mind?
No, go ahead.
Generally speaking, around the first to second week of August, our either staff or the consultant's DFA will prepare the tax rolls that get submitted to the assessor's office. And what we do is basically any new home or occupancy that has occurred within that previous year is how you end up being charged.
Based on occupancy.
Yeah, so it's based on occupancy. It's not based on anything other than that.
Okay, I just didn't want to see tomorrow morning a line of 15 developers out there pulling.
No.
Before this increase comes
it
through.
truly is based on the fact of when the house sells, and then that the new assessor parcel number is when it's established and it goes to that owner.
Okay.
And then depending on when he buys, it depends on when his first.
And this only involves new homes, not existing homes at resale.
Only new homes will be annexed into this new Community Facilities District 5.
That's all I have.
Mr. Mayor,
Can I restate that just for clarity? Only new tentative maps that are adopted after we've established this. So new maps that may have, we don't go back and retro them, but everything from here forward that we condition to enter into 5 will be part of 5.
Okay. Councilmember Gilbert?
Yes, on the 4% CPI kicker that's built into it, this may kind of go back to you, Mr. Rivera, does that increase go up 4% per year even if the home has not been occupied and taxed yet, or is it only as after the home is occupied and taxed, then it goes up 4 per year?
Once the occupancy occurs, are you saying in the case of a bad situation where there's a foreclosure or something like that?
No, I guess my question is this. So let's say you have a tentative map that happens after this in the future, and you have a CPI increase of 4%
right.
per year,
Right.
up to 4% per year that can happen. Does that happen automatically?
Automatically.
Even though the house is not occupied?
Correct.
Or does it happen when the house is occupied?
It'll happen whether there's a house that exists or not. The idea is that everybody that goes in this is always paying the same amount. So nobody gets charged more than somebody else. So it always stays consistent. So in year one, if you have 100 homes and you pay, what is it? Whatever it is.
$775.
And then the next year you have
735.
200 homes, everybody's paying that same price. And in 10 years, if it's 1,000 homes, again, everybody's paying the
I
same
guess my
exact
question
price.
is this. I'm sorry, I don't think I'm being clear. So does it compound until that home is sold and occupied, or does it just stay flat at the 735, and then as soon as the homes are sold and occupied, then it compounds?
It compounds immediately.
Immediately. Thank you.
Okay. Any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'm sorry, we do have to open public hearing.
This is not listed as a public hearing.
Is there anybody that wants to speak on it?
That's why I asked.
It does say
We did the public hearing originally, I believe.
June 18th.
It required public hearing for both of them, and it's stated on the transmittal. Agenda item says public hearing.
bottom it's listed.
Did it get advertised?
Yes.
I don't think it necessarily matters as long as you offer people in the public the opportunity to speak.
Let's just be more formal. Then I'm going to open this up for a public hearing. And do we have any speakers?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Then I will close public hearing. Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second.
There's a motion and there's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 4-0, 1 abstain.
Grab that, Mr. Clark.
All right, we're going to move to item G1, reports from city council members regarding their committees. Councilmember Clower.
Yes, I attended the intergovernmental meeting last Thursday, and I'd like to start off with thanking Councilmember Friend and Supervisor Botello for sitting in and saving a quorum. We do have a little bit of an attendance problem with that meeting, so it was nice of them to make sure they were there to make sure the meeting actually happened, as there was probably 10 or 12 staff members there at that point. The major things that we talked about, a couple of them have been covered. The River Park Trail getting grant being received or approved. McCarthy Park, which we approved specifications for earlier. The COG sales tax update, which was approved by COG, and I'm sure you guys will talk about that more. Then we had a long list of other things that will hopefully be on future agendas. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Friend?
Yeah, I attended the monthly fire overview committee, and we had no quorum, so we didn't have a meeting. We had good burritos, though.
Okay, Vice Mayor Luna?
I don't have a report at this time.
Okay, Councilmember Giglio?
Mr. Mayor, I stood in at the fire committee meeting as an alternate, but we still couldn't get up to a quorum, so unfortunately that was continued. And then COG, I'll defer to you for an update on where we're at with that, if you like.
Actually, I think you were at the last meeting.
Oh, you weren't there at the last one?
Right,
Okay.
I think.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was
so
on the road.
Essentially, COG has agreed and sent on July 24th the ordinance and the sales tax measure to the Board of Supervisors for approval and to be placed on the November ballot. That has been approved. The broad strokes, just in generally speaking here, the numbers are obviously not exact, but in general, we're looking at a $480 million raise, which is a 1% sales tax for 30 years. Approximately $242 million of that would be allocated to Highway 25. About $100 million, 99 or so, would come to the city for local road repair for specific projects, and about $99 million would go to the county, again, for very specific projects. These are secluded and special allocated funds that cannot be used for general fund purposes or any other purposes. Frankly, there is a very good citizen oversight built into the measure, which I'm particularly proud of. I think that that's super important to have the community's trust of all of us up here that the money's going to go to where we say it's going to go to. And then the other thing that I think is really important to discuss is the availability of matching funds from the state. Currently, the way the budget sits with the state, there's about $200 million worth of matching funds available for self-help counties. And there's also a one-time $5 million bonus in January of 2019 for new self-help counties. So if we do pass this measure, we'll have an immediate $5 million bonus just to get going. Obviously, there's going to be bonding costs and all those things to get it rolling. But I feel that this is a very important measure for the community to support as a whole. I hope all of us elected folks can get behind it and talk about it in a positive manner, because without this, I don't know how we're going to possibly come up with the funds to take care of Highway 25. And again, let me go back to the matching funds real quick, because a lot of people are concerned, Highway 25 is a state road. How are we going to deal with that, and why are we paying for it? The traffic studies show that about 70% of the traffic, and I'm just using round numbers, are from the city of Hollister, San Benito County specifically, and about 30% is statewide traffic. So if you kind of do the math on that, you're looking at $170, $190 million, somewhere in that range is what our responsibility would be. And the California Transportation Commission will hopefully, if we lobby and push hard enough, come up with the balance of the 242. so that we'll even have more money that would be able to be allocated to the cities and the counties. If you have any questions, I saw that the ordinance was published in the Freelance. The mayor and I sit on COG. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any questions, or any other COG members. If you have any questions, I think it's super important to ask them now and get all the answers that you need. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for all the time. Sorry I took so much of it.
No, you handled it really well, and I think just a couple of things I do want to add to that. There is the cost of the bond issuance, which is close to about $100 million. So the true cost of Highway 25 only is upwards of $350 million. The point brought up by Mr. Gilio is, as funding is allocated, this portion of this highway is our responsibility. That's just the way the funding system works in the state. Santa Clara County is paying for the new interchange at 101 and 25, which is another $70 to $80 million on their side, and they're also going to do some other improvements coming along the 25 corridor. Without their partnership and their effort, this would be a very tough thing to make work, but we have been meeting with them for the past several years to pull this all together. Mr. Gill is right. We're all working together on this. If we want to widen Highway 25, it's up to all of us. Of course, we're going to go to the state and try to get as much matching dollars as possible, but it's going to come down to us. And, of course, we are going to use the other dollars to fix our local roads. This is the opportunity to get some major work done, and we all need to work together. If you have questions, all of us are available to talk about it. It's very important that we get the facts straight. None of this goes to general fund dollars. It all stays on these projects. It's very important that we don't get those rumors started again about people taking money. No, this is going for these projects. The question of the 30-year came up a few times, and as I pointed out, Highway 25 alone, by the time you pay interest, is close to $350 million. It's a big project. And I know all those on board are going to work hard to go to the state and lobby for as much dollars as we can get. And we are going to keep working with Santa Clara County to have them help us do the best interchange possible at that intersection, which is really a critical part of this whole project. So thank you, Mr. Gilio, for being on that committee and staying with it. All right, we're going to move to item G2, informational reports. Mr. Clara.
Would this be the time for us to talk about Ray? Okay, because there's not really
absolutely the perfect time for it.
Okay, cool.
No, I think 2 hours from now.
You know, Ray, I've really enjoyed my time on the council with you, and I'm proud to be able to say that I served with you for the last few years. I think that there's a couple things that members of the public don't really understand about being a council member, and I'll kind of expound on 2 of those. The first being just the amount of time and specifically committee meetings and the research that goes along with that. I served on some committees, and I felt like you were on almost every single one that I was on, and we were various different topics, whether it be animal control or trash contracts or intergovernmental. So I would expect that over the last 8 years, you probably have a wider breadth of items that you've dealt with than just about anybody in the city, even staff members, because staff members don't necessarily see everything that goes on as well, aside from a high administration. So that's one thing that I think the public doesn't see, is that amount of time, those meetings. There's not a whole lot of public input at those meetings, but I saw you there. I appreciate the work that you put in all those committees. Another thing that I don't think that everybody sees is just the intestinal fortitude, the courage that it takes to sit up here and deal with some of the criticism and calumnies that come that way, whether they be deserved or not. And I think that you've done a great job working through those. And I know over the last few years we've all stood together and dealt with those in due time. And I appreciate your courage in that regard. I do wish that I could have been a little bit more like your style and spoke out when it was time to do so. A lot of times it's easier just to not say something so that you don't get the backlash, and I don't think you ever waited 1 second to do that, so I appreciate that. And then just the last thing is I think that serving as long as you have, your fingerprints are going to be on the city for the rest of the time. And I think it's hard to judge an elected official during the time that they actually serve. And I feel that history will look positively upon your time here and the decisions you've made.
No, thank you. I don't have any report.
Okay. Vice Mayor Luna.
Well, first of all, Bill reported on the grants that have been received, and I do really want to thank the staff for all the work that they have put in. And I know about 2 weeks ago that I got called in, and I met with two of the staff members that actually wrote the grants, and I can say that, you know, I really need to praise them for all the work and effort they put into it, and not only coming here and giving us a report that we move forward with it, but actually the work that they put in. So I really want to thank our staff from the different departments. And in addressing Ray Friend, what can I say? I mean, I remember when I decided I was going to run for city council, and Ray was the one I spoke to, because I know he had been here a while. He had been in the planning department, and while I was an employee of the city of Hollister, I don't think he was on the planning at that time. Or maybe you were, yeah. And I always remember hearing his name. He was very direct, and he would come out and say what he thought. And at times, Ray, I really thought that you were telling people in your district to call me, because everybody in his district decided they could use my phone too, call me on my cell. I didn't mind it, because I gave it right back to Ray. But anyway, thank you for your service. We're going to miss you. And I'm going to be reading that newspaper from your new city, because I have a feeling that you may have served our city for 10 years. And you're probably going to finish your term over there. So I'll be looking out for that, Ray, and we're going to miss you. And just take care of yourself and keep in touch. Thank you.
Councilor Angilio.
I'd like to start out to thank Ray. When I applied for this position, I asked to meet with all the council members, and Ray probably spent 2+ hours with me, just talking to me about the process, the position, what's rewarding about it, what are the challenges, the time commitment. And ever since that day, I just, had a connection with Ray. He was very direct, very honest. And throughout the last 15 or so months, he's been a great mentor and provided great advice to me on many occasions, and I appreciate that. And I'm going to miss you at the car shows around, and hopefully you'll still be showing your cars up there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm very glad that you're able to be close with your family. That's amazing, and hopefully all of us someday can be in your position where we're able to retire and then take some time and enjoy life. Good job. I sincerely appreciate everything you do. Thank you for your service. The story that Marty read and told was very powerful. I didn't know that. I asked you about your service the first day we met, and you were very humble, and you didn't bring up any of that. That's pretty amazing. I'd probably lead with that. That's pretty awesome. Good, amazing story. Thank you for your service. Staff, I wanted to thank for all the hard work you've done. I had a couple of meetings with staff over the break. Mary was out there really working on the Sunny Slope grant. Safe Routes to School grant. We received a bunch of grants. I mean, just amazing work you guys are doing. You really are going above and beyond what you need to do. And I don't know that we all fully appreciate the amount of time that it takes to write a grant. And then once you're awarded the grant, to report on the grant and everything that goes along with it. We just give you a thumbs up. And I just want to let you know that I do sincerely know the work that goes involved with that. It is involved with that. And again, thank you. Tomorrow night, real quick, National Night Out. 5:30, I believe it starts. Does that sound about right? Go to the downtown, check it out. We'll have all our public safety folks out there, and police department will be there. Great night to just meet the community and get out there. It was a great success last year, and I bet you there'll be even more people tomorrow night. And then one last thing is more work-related is we are going to be at some point considering a replacement for a council member friend, and I wanted to have a discussion with the council to see if we could have some consensus to ask our new city attorney, by the way, welcome, Jason, to give us some guidance on the rules, the minimum, maximum amount of time, and perhaps bring that back to us, and then also maybe ask the city manager to either come up with a revised process or maybe a similar process to what you used when you appointed myself. So at our next meeting, we can decide how we want to move with that, whether we move forward, we don't move forward, or just so we have all the information. Does that sound reasonable to the council?
I think that's what the attorney was going to do for us, bring back that information.
Okay.
In our discussion.
Sound reasonable? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, that's it. Wanted to remind everyone, next week, school is starting, and we all know that our teachers put out a lot of effort and a lot of money to make our kids, or give our kids the best education possible. Read a story, and I think it was on social media, about a teacher that encountered some parents at a store, and the parents were complaining about having to spend $10, $15 on pencils and paper and erasers, and how it should be the school's problem, not their problem. Later, walking out, checking out of the store, he ran into a different set of parents that said, "Thank you so much for what you do, and here's a gift card to help you buy supplies for our kids." Difference, one set of parents were showing how school was not important, and the other set showing how important school was, the value. Asking all of you, if you have kids, go buy a gift card for $10, $15 and give it to your child's instructor. It'll make that instructor proud of what they do. It'll make your child proud of you. And it'll help our community, because the best thing a community can have is a well-educated community. And it's a simple gift that means the world, and it helps the world. I wanted to thank the staff. I've been on a road trip for the past month across the country, made it all the way to Maine, Portland, Maine, almost 10,000 miles. And I can tell you, I've driven, I think it was 23 states, and every single one of them were bumpy. Those roads are bad across this country. And I was amazed at certain states, how quickly they would take my money going through those toll stops, and I was spending, seemed like $15 every hour. Our roads are not perfect, but I was so proud to come back and see how much has been done on these downtown streets and how quickly it was done. And actually, I drove Monterey Street a few times over the weekend, just enjoying it. And
it's not done.
No, but a good part of it was, and I was really proud of the work that's been done that quickly. Obviously, we can't repair the whole city this year, but we've been working hard and putting money away for it, and I just think they did a great job very quickly. So I'm looking forward to a few of the other really bumpy ones, and we'll get there. Ray, you and I have been around for a while, and I have several different memories of you. I think one of the memories I remember most fondest with you was you and I walking the convention floor in Long Beach for several hours and talking and talking and talking, and then jumping into your car and driving home for the next 6 hours and talking. And this is a guy you would think doesn't talk very much, but he talked the whole way, the whole day. I learned everything there was to learn about Ray.
I had to stay awake somehow.
I can tell you, I happened to pass by the area you're moving to on the way home this year. Absolutely gorgeous. And you absolutely deserve it. And I want the public to know two very important things that Ray did here as a council member. When I came on board, there was a discussion of the biker rally, yes or no. And I want everyone to know it was because of Ray that rally came back. He was that deciding vote that made it happen. And every biker And every person in this community that really loves that rally needs to thank Ray for being there for it.
Send checks.
Send checks. Or come visit you on their bikes.
There you go.
Never did he ever waver on the rally. He stood strong through it. And another issue that Ray helped turn the city around was when I first came here, we were in deep financial trouble here. Ray was that deciding vote that said, let's go in a different direction. Because of Ray, we were able to pay off $10 million in debt. We were able to buy several new fire trucks, hire new firefighters, hire new police officers. The list goes on and on. We went from being in severe debt to now having a reserve of over $6.5 million. And it was Ray that made that deciding vote, Ray. And I will never forget that, and I will always remember you by it. And when I do stop by your house on my next road trip, you better open your door.
You bet.
Thank you.
I won't have a gun either.
Thank you very much, Ray.
Thank you. No, I just want to thank the staff. It's, everybody talks about it being difficult up here. It's time consuming, and sometimes when you're here at midnight, it's a little tiring, but it's really rewarding too. Even the bad stuff, even the arguments that I lost, even the votes that I didn't agree with, I mean, it's all part of the thing that why you're up here. You go with what you think your heart says. That you need to follow your heart, and you need to just remember that you need to keep your sense of humor. Because when things get up here, get really nasty, and if you crack a joke and laugh at yourself, things get a lot easier, and things just start working out a little better. So thank you all. I appreciate it. I'm glad I'm here to hear this, and this is not my final one, so it sounds like it. And thank you, Marty. That was nice. That's it. With that, are you guys ready, or you want to go around the?
You want to make your announcement, or?
Well, I think everybody's pretty well figured out this is my last meeting. Next week, me and a big yellow truck are headed north. I'm going to relocate to Spokane, Washington, and start Chapter 2. See how that works out. You never know. A couple of years, I might be sitting out here in the audience. Just never know. So anyhow, I will be back. I will be back for meetings. You never know. I might just show up and hope the new council, and I know you're going to have 2 or 3 new council members. I hope that the staff takes the time to help them. I know they did me when I first got on here. I know they did Victor when we first got on the council. They helped us, just keep our focus, keep us between the white lines. That's all you need. You just keep moving forward as long as somebody bumps you now and then and keeps you in the right lines. You're doing your job. So I think the staff needs to be the big winners in this. That's why I was impressed with the contracts that we just approved tonight. I think it's important to keep the people that make this city run as happy as we can. I know we can't pay the wages that we're paying in San Jose and other places, but we do what we can, and they do a hell of a job. And I think with that, that's it. That's the end of this.
Thank you, Ray.
All right.
City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just kind of echoing a little bit about the roads and streets. Just personally, I want to thank all the community members that have had to deal with our mess for the last couple of weeks. We're going to be continuing to make a mess over the next probably month or so. So please, again, bear with us. Hopefully we give you a nice product when all's said and done. We are, as things pop up, as they do on a daily basis, whether it be water valves or water lines, we are trying to make those corrections so that we don't have to come back and tear up a street in a week or two. As you know, in the older parts of downtown, the water lines are not real deep. They're pretty shallow. A lot of just the construction that's taking place has caused some service lines to break. We're fixing those, and hopefully we actually get a nice permanent fix on one of them on Monterey Street. We'll find out in the next day or two about that. You folks approved the supplemental appropriation for some water valves. Again, that's going to be really helpful when there is a water line break, that we can kind of consolidate it to one, or confine it to one little area, so we're not shutting off more houses than we need to. But again, the council has approved a ton of CIP work. It's all happening right now, and hopefully everybody likes the product at the end of the day. And keep in mind that just because you see blacktop down doesn't necessarily mean that's the final layer. We have a leveling course. We throw down a mat before the final. So you're being allowed to drive on stuff that's actually not finished yet, and in many of the cases. So again, I just want to thank everybody out there and appreciate their willingness to sacrifice their convenience for a little bit before it's actually done. That's about it.
Thank you. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did want to just introduce myself to everyone, to the community. I am Jason Epperson. I'm the new city attorney here in Hollister since July 1st. And I will tell you, you all will notice in the months to come that I have something to say during the city council about 3 or 4 times a year, in open session at least. But I did tonight want to say real briefly how appreciative I am and my firm is that you, the City Council, have given us the opportunity to serve the City of Hollister. I appreciate it very much, and we look forward to a long, productive relationship with this great city. I also want to take a chance real quickly to thank, in addition to the City Council, your city manager and the staff, which has been has given us a very warm welcome over the last month and helped us figure out how you do things here in Hollister and how things need to be done, and has provided me with all the help I could possibly imagine. You have such a remarkably friendly, professional crew here in Hollister. I'm extremely impressed, and I thank all of you for that. Lastly, I want to point out that when our firm was interviewed by 2 of your city council members, Councilmember Friend was one of those 2 council members. And I hope it's not the fact that I'm starting that has forced you to leave. But it is quite a coincidence, I hope, that my first night here with the City Council is unfortunately your last. And I wish you all the best, and I'm sorry to see you leave. But good luck to you in your future and wherever that may take you.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. Those of you who I haven't met, I look forward to getting to know in the months to come. And thank you, and we'll see you at the next City Council meeting.
Thank you very much. Lieutenant?
Thank you, Ray.
Okay. City Clerk?
Thank you, Ray, but you know I'll be talking to you anyway. So. I don't think you have anything you want to add other than we are doing a parallel meeting right now with our new Granicus IQM2. So if you're wondering why I'm kind of head down, I'm kind of playing maybe a little bit too much with this, which I'll probably end up having to cut back when it becomes just one of us. But because Nova's here, I'm taking full advantage, and I'm kind of doing minutes on the fly right now. So if you've been kind of watching me do what I'm doing, I think that doing it alone, I'll have to cut back a lot on what I'm doing on the computer so that I can maybe better handle the public speakers and voting on the system. But we're hoping that it'll go well tonight and that it'll be super cool. We're going to try and print out resolutions at the end of this meeting. We have a backup the old way just in case it doesn't all go well, and wish us luck. So.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the video system as well? Or
yes. As I'm going through here and what's taking a lot of my attention away, especially this first meeting, it took me to probably in the F's to figure out how to timestamp. So. I'm learning how to timestamp. So when this video is loaded up on our website, you can actually click on agenda items and the video will go right to that portion. So you don't have to watch the whole video. So if you wanted to watch just what happened on F2, you can click on that, and I'm timestamping it so the video will go straight to that spot.
Great.
So.
Let me see if I could show you guys real quick.
I was going to say, that's how I put myself to sleep, though, watching videos.
Demo. You guys watch Epic Fails? Here's one.
You mean
Come on,
that-
Billy. It's all good.
You mean we're the only ones that have to sit here for 4 hours?
See?
Yeah, see, it's always a jinx when you do this.
Paul, did you have 9 o'clock in the pool?
Yeah, you trying to stretch it out?
Paul stayed, so in case something went crazy wrong.
Okay, so this is kind of a testing
Environment.
environment. Got the wrong mouse, sorry. So
I'm impressed.
As you could see, if you could see, right here is the meeting. Where's the meeting? It's down here. It's already passed, so she must have. Did you adjourn, right?
No.
Okay. Anyway.
But remember, I stopped it once. I stopped it
Oh,
once.
that's probably what. See,
Yeah.
Never mind. Anyway, the August 6th meeting, you see when you go to the website, there's going to be a link that'll come to this page here, and you'll see the upcoming meetings. You'll see the past meetings. On the meeting date, you'll see the agenda packet, where you can actually download both of those. And once the meeting has happened, you'll have a video link here. And once you click on the video link, this is probably not a good idea. You'll see this open up.
Oh, wow.
Here you are. And here I am.
Is that us right now?
Apparently.
Yeah, it is. Small delay.
I just saw you say it's delayed behind me.
Not much of a delay.
Well, this is still kind of going because we're still on the meeting. Anyway, we have the agenda here on the bottom, right underneath the video. And it's about 20 seconds delayed, so
Very nice.
bear with me. And once this is done and adjourned, you'll be able to click on here. It'll go right to the point in the video. Say you wanted A5. You want to see A5. It'll go to the point of the video where A5 gets discussed and voted on. So that's that part. So right now we have a banner up here that says live. So this is the actual meeting that's running live, which happens to be the same one as the other one because she clicked on it too earlier. So basically, this is the way it's going to be on the website from now on with the system.
So we're
still
hoping that
working
you
out
guys like it. I know
Wow.
Jim has already commented that he likes
very
the
nice.
new.
So I'll be able to
format.
watch these.
Amen.
Very nice.
It's a lot of hard work. Thank you.
21st century.
So, Paul, I have a question. So, at the time that the meeting's going on, anybody can log on to their computer, system up, and be watching
When it says
on their
live up
home
here,
computers or
on their home
laptop.
computers, they click on live, and I'll see the live.
It's live.
It'll be a 20-second delay from what's going on here to what's going on.
Okay.
It'll be live, and then after the meeting, you can go back and click on the video link and actually go through and click on any part of the agenda, and the video will come up.
It'll be live. Thank you.
Will we push this
Good.
out to the community after the next meeting or after this meeting?
The next meeting was
We're
supposed to be
hoping
the
to go
live
live
meeting.
on the
Okay.
20th.
Great.
So this is a kind of our practice meeting, and I blew it already several times.
It's all right.
But
I'll
I
blame
learned
her.
a lot from that too. So I panicked and did something they
Yeah.
told me not to do.
And I would also ask the council, as we move forward in just the agenda packet preparation, that the next couple weeks we get a little bit of leeway on some things that may or may not happen right or correctly first time out. So just know that we're continuing to get used to this. It's not just Christine and Nova. It's basically anybody who prepares a report now has all gone to a new formatted system, and it's relatively easy to deal with. But I think that once it gets into them in the kind of the packet preparation, so to speak, it gets a little bit more complicated. So we just ask for your patience as we work through it. Shouldn't be too bad.
It's a good thing we had to praise this tonight, then.
Yeah. So the 20-second delay, that give time for somebody to do the beep button? Okay. The delay.
It might.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very great. Good that we're getting updated. Is that it? HIJK.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
In Ray Friend's
In
name,
Ray's
if you guys
honor.
all agree,
Ray
please.
honor.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. Friendly amendment.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for coming out.
Yeah, and, buddy.